So you agree that like the science fair opens up students to be more involved and actually learn a lot?
Well, I think it exposes them. It doesn't require you to commit to anything. It just gives you some more information in your toolkit. So I don't see it as anything negative at all. It's a complete positive. Even if you're a business major, think about business and science. They go together, very well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that basically what it provides is an opportunity for people to see things, to touch things, to meet people doing interesting and kind of cool stuff. There's a lot, I don't know, you guys are here in the studio, but if you have some time, you should go down and actually hang out down there because it's really interesting. Some of the stuff that they're showing is really exciting and interesting. And if it makes a difference, I think what Blaise had said earlier to me when we were talking on the phone, if we can make a difference with one kid and influence one kid to actually choose a career in science and engineering, one that they're successful at and one that they really enjoy, that's worth it for us. It's really worth it for us.
Totally.
And as both professors, what's one thing that you tell your students to like get out there and actually get into this field?
I don't know. How would you answer that?
Yeah, there's as a teacher, something that I've now learned is that you can only do so much. It's kind of like being a coach. Like if you're Joe Girardi, you're right. You've put the players out there. You've done your best, and then part of it's up to them. So I think in my lab, I think the take-home message is just do your best. Be open to try new things and new opportunities. Like with my breast cancer project, I came from a lab where I studied inflammation in vitro and cell. It's kind of different. And I just said, I want to try something totally different and not continue exactly what I did. And people were like, why? You've already set up all these methods. And I said, I don't know, I just want to try something different. So you got to be open, I think, to opportunities as they present. And just go for it and be persistent.
So as right now you're studying breast cancer?
Yes. And there's a lot of us out there, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to make a difference. The research has made a difference thus far, and being part of it's been unbelievable. Because this disease affects everybody, just like growth and development affects everybody. I mean, it's something that we all relate to. We all know somebody.
One of the things I think that's also important to sort of try to stress to young people today is that basic research. I mean, people wonder, well, why would somebody be working with flies? What, this is ridiculous. I mean, fruit flies. What can you learn from a fly? Basic research is very important because, there's a lot of stuff that we just don't understand. And if we're going to try to address questions of human disease and human health, if we don't understand the fundamental ways in which nature works, we're not going to be able to fix anything. So I think it's very important to do basic research. And the other thing about basic research is that things come out of basic research that are completely unexpected. Discovery of penicillin, things like that. They came from completely unexpected directions. Some really amazing have come out of basic research. And so therefore, there is an important role for it. And I think people should consider that when they're choosing careers.
And what classes would you encourage a student to take to get into this field of learning?
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward in terms of the classes that you'd want. But in my case, when I was in high school, I took physics and chemistry and biology, but I was really into physics and chemistry. And the irony was that I was more physics-chemistry oriented, and I wound up going into biology. But that was okay, because I actually was interested in biophysics. You have to get a feeling for what are your interests. I mean, what do you want to do? Where do you think you want to go? And then just try to adjust your curriculum for those areas and see if they really are the areas that you want to do. And then if they're not, you'll tweak your curriculum. You'll move into something else that's more along the lines of what you want.
Definitely. I think in high school, part of the experience is to learn the textbook material. Part of the experience is to develop, because it's such a tumultuous time in your life. You're going from being a little person to being an adult. And so there's all kinds of elements involved. But I think in terms of getting yourself well prepared is just to do well in your basic science classes. I'm sure that things have changed since I was in high school in terms of courses and such. But I think if you have a good command of basic principles, chemistry, basic physics principles, basic biology principles, and if you do move on to college, you'll be ready for the things that present themselves. And the other thing I'll say is, when you get there, go to those lectures that are just posted randomly on the cork boards that don't look anything like what you're interested in, because you might go. I remember going to a Drosophila lecture where the professor was from Max Planck Institute, and he was studying how the Drosophila flaps its wings, because apparently there's some kind of forces that get generated that are so strong that it can fly like a helicopter or a jumbo jet. And he was like, and I don't understand any of what he said, but I just walked out of there saying, wow, that was so cool. So I think you should take advantage of those. And you know, you're here today at the Science Festival, so you've made that first step. And you know, while you're young and you have the opportunities, you know, take advantage of all of them.
And what's the most interesting thing that you learned while studying this?
In my case, there's lots of it. It's kind of like, it's hard to say that there's one most interesting thing. You learn new things all the time. I think if I had to make one generalization about what is the most interesting thing I've learned, is that we are very much alike. All living things are very much alike. The same basic rules that govern, you know, a bacterium or a fly actually govern human beings. The same pathways, biochemical pathways, are how they can serve. So something as simple as a bacterium can actually teach us a lot about ourselves. And that's probably what I would say is the most important thing I've learned.
Yeah, it is a hard question. I mean, there's so many things that you can point to and say this is very important. But I just think stepping back from everything, it's just nature is amazing. Nature is going to do it the right way, and we can learn from it. So I think that's when I step far away and looking at the Earth from the moon, which I'd love to be able to do one day. That would be cool. You know, that's probably where I'm coming from with that. You can learn a lot from nature.
Yeah, in a sense, nature is our teacher. Okay, and we learn from nature. We just have to know how to ask the right question and how to get that answer out of nature.
And any last words that you want to say?
The only thing I'd like to say, and to anybody out there, is that this festival is really exciting, and I really recommend, if you have some time this weekend, to come down and enjoy yourself. It's a great festival. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, as I was mentioning to Robert earlier, I kind of family and for kids and students. So it's here. If you can come by even for a half hour, it's probably worth it.
It's definitely worth it.
All right, thank you very much, both of you, for taking your time out and interviewing with me. Very informative.
Thank you,
Thanks for having
Katrina.
us.